If you do the sales, especially B2B sales, I am pretty sure that you had a situation that you were dealing with your client and then suddenly your client asks you the worst question ever. Client asks you, so, Mr. Seller, what is unique about your product? What is the main difference between you and the competition? And similarly to many other people who are trying to sell their products or services, probably this question make you little bit trouble. From my experience, most of the people answering, we are cheaper, we have a good quality, and that's it. But in today's sales, in today's market, this is not enough. We need to have very specific values, value proposition, and unique selling point to offer to our client to make sure that we can bring their attention and at the end of the day win the sales. And will be the subject of today's conversation. Today, I will introduce you how to create value, how to create value proposition, and then how to put them in the correct sentence, correct message, so this message resonate with your buyer. So if this is something you like, if you are a salesperson and selling B2B, or you are a business owner who also is engaged in sales, stay tuned and listen to this podcast. Hello, everyone. My name is Adam Skoneczny, and I have been living in Asia for the past 8 years. As the CEO of EVIT Organization, I spent the last 6 years helping Asian tech companies expand into Western markets by building professional sales team and sales process. In this podcast, I will discuss everything related to sales in tech industry as well as collaboration with Western client. So let's start. In my last episode, I discussed with you about three main elements, which are the main triggers for the buyers when they making decision either to buy or not to buy. And if you remember where those triggers were, the price, low price, or second trigger was low risk, and the third trigger, it was the time. In this episode, I will be not describing this again. If you haven't seen that episode, I highly recommend that you go back because that episode is a essential part for today, and we actually are continuing what we did our homework in last episode, and we are continuing today. So I guess after you listen to the last episode, you already should map on our metric two things. First of all, it's what kind of client you're collaborating with. Are your clients price sensitive, or your clients are they have a reversion to risk and they don't want to take any risk? Or maybe your clients that are focused on the time. So if you have this map out, so if you map this out, this is your first step. And the second step, you should map out about the services. So basically, where your services are focused on. And here we use the same matrix. We use the low price, low risk, and time. After you have this two element, we can start with values. So what are the values? Values would be the second most element that will trigger the decision of from buyer if they should buy from you or no. Values should be the thing that distinguish you from the other people. And the values, as their name say, they should add the value, solve some main issue, and support purchasing decision that at the end of the day distinguish your services, your product from competition. How to create values or how to find the values, because sometimes many of you have the values already in your company. You have a value proposition, you have some unique point, but you are not actually discussing about them, you're not presenting to them, and you do not send a message to the client. So how we do it? Values we can find on the three levels. First level is in our services. So let me give you example. If you are, let's say, IT outsourcing company and you're providing softwares using AI to optimize quality testing, optimize speed of the development, optimize communication with the client. by having those three factors, you can actually increase quality of the code, you can increase speed of the development, and you can increase the communication and quality of communication with the client and also between the team members. Let me also give you example from different product. Let's say, for instance, you are manufacturing some gearboxes or some other machines that are later exported to the foreign countries and sold, or they are part of the bigger machine. So what could be your value? Your value could be one of element, let's say some kind of bracket you buy in the Japan, and this bracket has strength much better than the other brackets. And thanks to this, this machine can, instead of working 10 years, this machine can work 15 years or 20 years. So this could be also your value that you can find in the service you provide or process of building your product. So again, number one place where we can look for the value is our service or our product. Second, it's in customer service. And what do I mean by that? Value in the customer service, they could be values such as extended guarantee, dedicated customer success manager, office at the location of the client. All of those things they will support with customer service. They will guarantee client that if something happen, you can act immediately, such as in instance if you have an office in their country. And actually, what you can do, you can bundle them up. If you have an office in Germany and you're selling those machines to German client, you can have a guarantee that in the 48 hours you are exchanging the part in the machine that you sell to the client. So this is also very, very valuable information for our client. And this information can be the deciding factor to buy from you instead of your competition. So this is the second place. It's customer service. And the third last place where we should look for the values, there are added values. Added values, it's something that it's not related to customer service, it's not related to your product, to your service, but it's something completely out of the box, put on the top of your product and service. For instance, you can propose to the client that you can send for 1 or 2 month engineer on the site to work directly with a client and help with deployment or implementation of new software in the whole company. So this engineer can be like consultant or very technical person who will help with all activities. Another type of the value you can create, which are added value, you can promise fast shipping in under 2 days, 3 days, wherever. You just estimate, not estimate, you are very strict with the time and you provide it to the client. So client can easily plan their business. And another type of the added values, it could be, for example, YouTube channel, or it could be podcast where you actually explaining to the client how to use your product or service. So for instance, for me, I can say my added value is this podcast where I educating you or my potential client or my existing client who I already consulted, and here they can get a little bit more extra knowledge to implement to their company. So those are the three places where we should look for the values. First is service or product. Second is customer service. And then the last place is added values. Now, again, we're going back to the homework. I guess it's your favorite part. Your homework it will be to write down at least five values for each service or product, customer service, and added values. I highly recommend to do it 10. So later on, we have an opportunity to choose and to create your unique selling point, which will be really, really mind blowing, if I can say like that. But basically, my point is here that if you have a more, we have a better chance and we have a better option to design better unique selling point. You might say, Adam, this is impossible. I've been trying to figure out this out for last 5 years. I even had a client who told me they tried to figure it out for last 14 years. And we cannot find any values, we cannot find any unique selling point. It's just basically impossible for our business because we do everything the same as other people doing. And that's completely fine. And this is actually no problem. You shouldn't be worried about that. Because let's say that your product and service, your product or service are completely the same as other people. Let's say you do IT outsourcing, you do software development. So don't worry because you do not have to focus on the service or product you're providing. You still have a tool area where you can show off yourself. You can focus more on customer service and you can focus more on the added value. And actually, to be honest with you, this kind of position is a big competitive advantage. Because if one business owner say that, oh my God, for us it's so difficult and we cannot find the values, I bet you that the other business owners say the same thing. What's that mean for you? If you listen this, if you listen previous episode and you will listen next episode, you will have a huge competitive advantage because you will be able to design your values, value proposition, and unique selling point. Actually, if you have these thoughts, what I just explained, you should be more motivated to go ahead and do this exercise. Again, minimum 5 each, try aim for 10 each. So now, how you actually can create those values. First of all, what you do, obviously, can sit down with your sales team, with a BOD, and discuss about what are our values. And maybe you will have some ideas, maybe not. Maybe your team is already discouraged because they try to do it 10 or 15 times. That's no problem. What you do as next step, take your metric with the client mapping, with the survey mapping, and you go to marketing team and you ask them the same questions. You ask them, what do they feel? What is our unique value? What value we do add to our clients? And if they feel lost and they don't know what's the story and what you ask them for, or they don't know how to answer, basically ask them, when you talk with our client or when you do the survey, what clients say? Why they buy from us? Why they stay with us? This is the two very important point. If you talk with marketing, ask why they come to us, what bring their attention. Okay, so this will be the question, client-centric question for internal team, but will help you to find those values. And the next step, you know what you should do? I guess you probably know already. Go to your delivery team, ask the same thing. Go to your product team, ask the same thing. Go to your managers, ask the same thing. You are not alone in your company unless you are a solo entrepreneur. But if you're not, go and discuss with everyone, and each person will give you few ideas. You do not have to pressure them to give you ideas right on the spot, but just ask them to drop it. You will come by tomorrow, and they will just provide them to you. So now you probably see it's much easier than you thought to design those values. That's very good point. But it's not finished yet, my friend. This is the halfway. And there is the second half where we need to take those values and turn them into value proposition sentences or value proposition messages. So how we do it? First of all, what you need to know and keep in the mind that value which will be turned into value proposition, it must accomplish some task. And this task, if I can say like this, let it be. This task is the value proposition sentence should solve some problem, should touch main key elements of purchasing decision process that I mentioned you before, or should be so unique and adding so much value to your product or customer service that client will perceive this as really valuable and unique. Sorry for repeating so much time the word value, but I cannot actually replace it with a different word. Uh, Maybe I don't know how. If you know how to replace it, just let me know in the comment. I will highly appreciate. So let's get into it. Let me give you a few examples and explain you what I mean. The main problem is when we design the value or value proposition, usually people will talk about outcome, which is not really relevant to what we are looking for. What do I mean? So, for instance, if somebody want to present to client their value and they're not really familiar how to do it, they will say, "We are cheaper and we have a better quality." So even though, let's say, they have this AI system I mentioned on very beginning of this podcast, they will direct their message into the direction of outcome. Oh, let me give you example from the other industry, maybe completely out of the B2B, out of the technology, maybe traditional industry, but this will be very good example that will allow you to picture what I mean. So if you ask men who has no hair why you want to have a hair or why you want to do hair transplantation, meaning put the hair into their head, which is really painful and pricey, they will tell you that they want to look nice, they want to feel good, and they want to find a girlfriend. And if you hear this first time, it might sound that this is really good and this is makes sense. But no, this is doesn't make sense for us. Why? Because all of these things, what the client told you, this is the outcome. And we cannot use the outcome to create the value proposition. Why? Because outcome it's not strong enough. What will be stronger? The pain, the problem. This will be much stronger and this will attract much more attention from the client. So what is the real pain of the man who has no hair? He is lonely because he has no girlfriend and he blames lack of the hair. So he is lonely. He is shy. He is afraid to go to social, to meet with the people. He been in the situation that somebody joked at him and he felt uncomfortable. So those are the real problems and this is what we are building our value proposition on the problems, on the challenges, on the issues. So let me give you an example from begin of conversation about the AI tool implemented into the software development process. So this is the value that is focusing on the area of services. And what is very interesting on that, many of my clients, when I talk with them and we discussing about the software development services, they say there is nothing unique here. Everything is the same, only except that you can say we are cheaper or better. And I do not agree with that. And here is the value that you could create for the software development services. For instance, we have implemented AI Sister to support us with the first run of the code check, communication, and code development. So actually, at the end of the day, Mr. Client, we could save 20, we are 27% more productive than our competition. What does it mean for you, Mr. Customer? It's mean that no bugs in your code anymore because the code going through the two layers of the check. First is AI, and then the second is person. Second, no more missing deadlines because we have much higher productivity by 27%. That's mean for you delivery on time and saving money. And last but not least, no more problem with communication. We are implementing our bot to the communication and also on your side that your developer feel far more confident, same as our when they communicating together. And we do this without any extra fee. So you have the example here how we could create the value in the software production services in the industry that so many people told me this is impossible to create value, but there is something. And this is just example, to be honest with you. I came out with this right on the spot. If you think a little bit harder, if you spend some time on this, you can come out with much, much better value to, to software development services. Next, let's give an example about the value proposition in customer service. So let's come back to example I mentioned that we have office in let's say Germany and we have a designated customer success manager over there who is German. What we can say to the client is something like this. Mr. Client, you know how it's with the other providers of those machines. If something happen, they need to fly here from China, fix your machine, sometimes send back the parts, and we talking about months. Your machine is down, and you're losing a lot of money. I know that because I know I've been in this business very long, and I know how much cost when the production is stopped. With us, it's completely different. We have an office in Germany. We have a warehouse in Germany with the parts, and we have an engineer, local engineer here. We promise that in 48 hours we can be at your location with our engineer, and he will start fixing machine if there will be any problem. However, I can tell you one more thing. With our machine, you will definitely not have so much challenges like with other. You know, usually lifetime of this kind of machine is 10 years. However, because we put the extra spare part from the Japan, our brackets are designed in the special way. Their lifetime is 20 years. So actually, even though you might think our machine are a little bit more expensive, but with our warranty and our service we providing, you are saving a lot of money. So yeah, this was the different example of value that you can provide for the customer service. And then let me give you some example from added values. Added value can be YouTube videos, as I mentioned before. And some of the services could be, or products as well, could be difficult to implement. That's why if you have those videos or podcasts, then could be very, very helpful for your clients. So what can you say? Mr. Client, you know, with this software, when you implementing it to the organization, some of employees they might have challenges. I guess it happened to you before that one person didn't want to use it, and because of that, the workflow was disturbed, and then you just felt like you're wasting money. With us, this is no option. We have recorded for you the bunch of videos that they're available on the YouTube for you that will onboard each person to the product, and each person will know exactly how to use it. We have a step-by-step instruction, plus we have a PDF file and checklist that will allow you to check if the employee is already successful onboarded. Thanks to this, you don't waste time on the training, you don't waste time on the employees who are not on board, and you are very, very confident that the workflow is going smoothly. Okay, so that was third example of another value that we could add to the clients and make our product unique. Today, podcast is a little bit longer, and the reason is because actually it's very important. You need to work on those values, and I actually took a little bit more time to explain you and give you some examples about the values. And I really, really hope that you can design those values very well. What I want to do for you is actually help you and go one step further. And I create this PDF file where you can print and use it for typing in your values. You can share it with other departments, collect information, and then build your value proposition out of this information. So obviously, this will be your homework, and it's really important. You need to do it. Why? Because next episodes will be the crucial one. Next episode will be the one that we will finally do our unique selling point. Be honest with you, when you go through your homework, you will be like 80% already done with the task. Then the next episode will be last 20%, but very important 20%. So make sure you join with me to the next episode and make sure you do your homework. And if you didn't map your client on the our matrix that I present in the last episode, you need to go back there and first do that exercise and then do the exercise from today. Thank you so much, guys, and see you in the next episode.